So I'm Marketta. I am from Southgate. I live with my partner. We've got one child. She is now 3.5. Currently I'm expecting second one. I work as a practice nurse, and when I had my daughter, I was with her at home for 10 months on maternity leave, and then I had to basically find alternative childcare, so I had a nanny for her. I think, you know, people should have choice, so if they want to return to work after, let's say, 6 months, or 10 months as it is at the moment, or 9, they should be able to. But if somebody wants to stay home, I would rather choose to stay home and look after my child, because this is why you have children after all anyway. So I found really hard to leave her when she was still very, very vulnerable with somebody who I didn't know. Obviously that lady was recommended to me, so I had some trust, but I would prefer if I could stay with her at least for up to she was 2, so she was more independent and more able to do things for herself, so I wouldn't feel so scared and petrified for her, really, because it was very stressful at that time for me to just leave her, because I wasn't ready. Still breastfeeding, and she was not walking yet, so, you know, she was still quite a vulnerable child, baby, so I didn't feel it's right to just let her go. It was lots of tears, yeah. I found it's not possible for me to return to full-time, because obviously the expenses are not really, you know, it's not beneficial for me to work. Plus, I rather spend time with my daughter than staying all day at work and then see her just in the night to put her to sleep.
Can your partner earn more money? Because you said he works very hard, doesn't he?
Yeah, that he works for TfL. So when I was on maternity leave and the first year, obviously he was trying his hardest to support us. So he was taking extra time, overtimes. He had even extra jobs, so he could work nights. So many times we didn't see him really for a few days even, because either I was sleeping or he was sleeping. So you know, the quality life wasn't there. He was tired, and obviously it was affecting both of us, our health. There was depression as well. It just wasn't a nice situation at all.
Was there no help from, say, benefits?
Yeah, we were trying, but each time we've been told that we are earning, you know, we are a high earners, so we are not entitled to any benefits. So the only benefit we got is we got the child voucher. So there has been some kind of, you know, tax relief, and that went to the child care. Obviously, we are renting at the moment, and so most of his salary goes on the rent, and then let's say council tax and a water bill, and that's basically it. And if I used my income for the food shopping, that's it. So if we had any extra bills coming in, like gas, electricity, we were in trouble. If the car needed to go for service, and unfortunately that year our car broke down a few times and became very expensive, we had to reach to credit cards, and the bills were just growing and growing. And obviously there were additional charges on the credit card, so it was just never ending. As I said, my daughter was first child for me, and you kind of get very attached to them. You want to do everything around them, you don't want to miss anything. And suddenly I felt like I'm forced to just let her go and go to somebody else, you know, and that was very, very difficult for me to understand, because especially I come from Czech Republic, and in there you can stay at home up to between 2 to up to 4 years. It is obviously your choice. So, you know, coming from that kind of background, I really found difficult to understand why I have to leave my child so early. So basically how it works, a maternity leave is for 5 or 6 months, yeah, and then it's changed for parental leave. So the first initial 6 months is paying the employer, and then you can return back to work. If you don't return back to work, then the employer is going to find somebody else. But the government is going to pay the paternal leave, or paternity leave, sorry. And you've got the fixed amount of money, which you can choose yourself how much money you want to be paid every month, because you need to calculate that between this amount of time you are choosing to stay home, okay? And so once you choose the option, then they pay you every month, you know, that fixed amount of money.
So for example, you have, say, £2,000 that you're allowed to have paternal leave.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right,
Paternity
leave, and you can choose whether you have it over a period of a year or over a period of 4 years.
Yes. Yeah. So either, let's say, for instance, you get every month like let's say 200 or 400 pounds, or you can get 600 pounds. But if you get 600 pounds, then you have to go, you know, you finish within 2 years. Yeah.
And who pays? Do you
That
have
is
high
the
taxes?
government.
High taxes?
I don't think so. I think it's quite similar.
And can you spend that money on childcare if you were to go back to work, or?
Yes, but you need to work only, I'm not quite sure how many hours, probably up to 15 hours, and you need to spend a certain amount of money in the childcare. Yeah, obviously they watch that, so they make sure that this money is spent kind of back in the system. Yeah. Otherwise you would lose it. If the father is working, they rather give the father tax relief according to the number of children. So actually he gets higher salary and he pays less tax. So the money stays with the family, which I think it's quite what we're supposed to have.
Okay.
You know, you are either left without any income at all, or if you are lucky enough, you can end up on the benefits. But again, because my partner is unfortunately full-time, so it's going to be a problem again. So
because you have friends on benefits?
yes, I've got a very good friend of mine who actually their situation, it worked out because her husband was redundant at the time when she was heavily pregnant, and then he couldn't find a job, so they end up on the benefits. And from their experience, although it's still struggle to be on benefits, but they were far better well off than we were, because they first of all they had quality time, they could spend time together, the husband could see the child growing, he could help her around, because he just went for part-time in the evenings, and they didn't need to have that financial burden which we had to go through. And the last thing, the outcome, if I compare myself with my friend, we are in debt, and they are fine. Everybody should be treated equally. I just feel like you are trying your best and still you end up in bad situation, and it's not fair. Motherhood is a gift, and I think we should really cherish that time, because it is very precious time, because as we know, we grow very fast, and you can see that especially on the children, because the development, the milestone, what is happening on daily basis is just amazing. So to have the privilege to be witness of that, I think it's beautiful, yeah.